In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one, the only, Cash Kraus.
Yes, we're here.
We are here today.
We made it a full year. 2020's over. And just a pretty mundane year.
Yeah, not too much going on. Pretty boring. A lot of forgettable moments.
Nothing that would traumatize Americans for, probably hundreds of years.
Of course.
The wake of 2020 will be felt by our grandkids.
By everyone. Yes, absolutely. It will go down in history. Absolutely. For the world, too, even.
Yeah. Oh, no, America can't just claim this one.
No, we cannot, unfortunately.
Although we did do a pretty good job of claiming maybe the worst out of all the countries, but it's arguable.
Well,
one country did blow up.
It is,
so,
yes. Yeah, that
So maybe they have an argument of worst year.
Worst year.
Yeah. But
not giving the award for that this year, for which country had the worst year. We're here today.
Yes, exciting episode.
Yeah, it's fun. We do this every single year. We talk about some of the best films of the year.
Yes.
This is our fourth year doing it, so we are talking about 2020.
And what a year for film. 2020, like everything else, it sucked. It was fucking horrible. I think Bad Boys for Life is going to sweep the Oscars this year, and if it does, I'm going to fucking hang myself.
I'm a big Bad Boys fan, and that sounds weird. Big Bad Boys fan.
You love your big bad boys.
I love my big bad boys. But I've not seen it yet. I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I heard it was decent.
I think it might have been the last film I saw in the theaters before the shutdown. Yeah, so if I die tomorrow, I'm going to die a very angry man. Yep. Yeah, very, very sour. But yeah, horrible year. A lot of crazy shit happened. We lost a lot of actors.
We did.
Chadwick Boseman, Sean Connery, just to name 2% of how many we lost. Yep. But yeah.
We would have to dedicate a whole podcast just to how many people we lost this year.
Yeah, but a crazy year. Johnny Depp had a wild year.
He did.
Tom Cruise ended the year strong.
Dude, I got to tell you about that real quick. Side note, because it's kind of an open forum podcast, this episode. Did you see the trend that was going on Twitter? It was number one for a little while. But it was Amber Heard is a liar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's some new stuff coming out on the old Amber Heard.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
It's been a wild year. Yeah. Johnny Depp has had a crazy 2020.
Man, might be one of the wildest years for a human being.
He had a wild 20, but just a ton of crazy shit happened, and somehow still managed to happen when there's no film being made at all. Besides Tom Cruise, he's the only one filming still. He's still making crazy shit happen.
How crazy is it, too? 2020 has been so insane that our government, the Pentagon, literally came out and said, they're UFOs, and no one even batted an eye.
No. It was a perfect time for it.
And there's still new videos coming out of like these crazy things falling out of the sky.
It's right now Americans are just are involved with a few other things.
There's a few other things on their plate right now.
That's why the NBA came out and they're like, man, this was our worst year. This is a really bad year. And they're like, well, people had a few other things to watch basketball. Yeah. There's just a couple other things, like our country was on fire for a large part of the year.
It was, yes.
We had a virus going on. Just some other important things happening. Yeah. But yeah, let's just forget about it.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
But let's remember.
Let's move on to 2021 now. Brighter horizons.
And I guarantee 2021, it's going to be perfect. We're going to leave that crazy shit in the past.
Let's just call it 2020 2.0.
How about we start 2021 January 19th.
I'm fine.
And everything else that happens this last
year
week
doesn't count.
We don't need to
until
talk
January
about it,
19th.
but let's just pretend it didn't happen. But let's go back and remember our favorite films from 2020. Do you want to go first? Do you have one?
Yeah, sure.
We're not doing
I'll go
this
first.
in any particular order.
I rank mine for fun, but
Yeah, I did not, because we're gonna have
a different list.
Yeah, so
because there's some films that you've seen that I've not seen. And
we're gonna have
not
different
vice versa, because every movie on my list you've seen.
and we might throw in a couple bad ones too.
Oh yeah,
Of our worst films.
yeah.
of
I'll go
2020.
tell you guys to go check out one in particular that is just horrendous. The
Yeah,
worst
and
film I've ever
I
seen.
saw that one on everyone's worst of list.
Oh God,
Yeah.
it's
Okay, well
frustrating.
let's
Yeah,
go.
okay, well,
Please,
okay.
we'll do that later.
First one I'm bringing up, which was number 10 on my list, was First Cow, the A24 film.
Hey, that's one that I thought was going to surprise you to have on my
Yeah.
list. Yeah,
I really enjoyed that one.
mine. If I ranked it, would probably been mid 5 or 6 for me, because I loved First Cow.
Yeah, so did I. You know, it's when we did the review for it, it was one of our more short reviews, but in a lot of ways, it was more kind of
was a shorter film,
It was a
too.
very shorter. It was a shorter film, and it was just a kind of in my opinion, kind of a slice of life style film where there wasn't a lot going on. The consequences weren't dire.
Yes.
it was just kind of a look into a sliver of this life.
This life in the 1800s, the frontier, and what it's like to be just a baker. Just want to be
Just trying to make some rolls, you know.
and how
stealing milk.
desperate you are when there's one cow in the entire frontier.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, directed by Kelly Reichardt, I believe. She's a minimalist, but that's how I would describe the film too. Very minimalist. Not a lot going on, but a beautiful film.
Yes, it was.
And it warmed your heart. The bromance
bromance.
between those two guys.
And you never knew, you know, they were thrown in. Okay, maybe these two might be a little, you know. But it never happened, right? So I
Yeah,
like
that
the
we
writing
know,
there. Well, that we know.
They were in love. It doesn't have to be sexual, but I think they were in love.
It was a bromance.
Yeah, for sure.
At least a bromance.
And you're living in
bottom.
that one room shack. It gets a little cold in that
It
winter.
gets lonely.
It gets very lonely.
Look, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
You can't fuck the cow. That's your
You can't.
main
No.
money. That's your main money source. So, you know, it's the wild frontier.
It
and
is
it
a
was
wild frontier.
all dudes in the frontier.
Yeah, a lot of dudes.
Not a lot of women. But yeah, I loved First Cow. I would definitely, you can check that one out on Amazon.
Yes.
But yeah, that was on my list as well. I will go to one that I know you won't have on your list, so I'll
Because I
get
have
it out
not
of the
seen
way.
it. Yep.
But I put on Pixar's Soul.
Yeah, and I am ashamed of myself because I told myself all week I was going to watch it, but my fiance said she had to watch it with me, and we have not found time to watch it together. I could have watched it like 3 different times, but I heard this film, Cash, was incredible. One of the best Pixar films.
It is.
I can't attest to that, but
It's directed by Pete Docter, who directs all the best fucking Pixar films: Monster Inc., WALL-E, Inside Out. Inside Out was another that's a film that tackled emotions, you know, very abstract concept. This is another thing where it tackles what it means to have a soul, not in a theology sense, like they don't go to heaven or anything.
Right.
But it's very abstract. It's Pixar at its best. Pixar at its best is when they're taking risk, not these fucking. They had a pretty lame year. They came out with a lot of sequels, and Onward was just middle of the road. Yep. But Soul is one that it takes a lot of risk. And Jamie Foxx is fucking fantastic in it. Tina Fey, I believe, is also voices. But man, you'll weep.
Yeah.
You will. Yeah, it's very emotional, but a really fucking good, one of the best films of the year. Mm-hmm. It will amaze you just the abstract concepts they are able to put. And it's it's a family film.
yes.
So it's supposed to be for everyone, but I dare to say maybe a more sophisticated family for this one. As far as I don't know if every child will love it.
Okay, I see. Or understand probably the concept or the theme of
Yeah,
it.
although it's not like you're gonna go away and be like, oh my god,
Mind
like,
bender.
what did that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a Christopher
It's
Nolan,
very you understand
Tenet.
you understand everything that they're putting out there for you, but it's very well done. All right.
So this was number 9 for me on my list, which I know this will be much higher on your list. So you're going to be a little disappointed.
Oh, I'm already disappointed at you.
It had to hit my top 10. It was a great film. One of the last films I saw, actually the last film I believe I saw in theaters.
Whoa.
The Invisible Man.
Yes, of course. I did put it pretty high on my list as well. Yep. came out February, so it was that was the first movie I saw in 2020. Yeah. I came out of that, I'm like, this is going to be a good year.
It's going to be great. Universal Studios threw that whole Dark Universe out, and they just, did this film. It was great, starring Elizabeth Moss. And
in the Walnell verse, Jason Walnell, who did one of our favorite films from 2018, 2019, Upgrade, who is up and coming. I guess,
dude, that film was so good.
I guess they're just giving him every Universal monster at this point because I think he's signed on to do Frankenstein or something. Yeah. Oh, I think Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I can't remember, but they are letting him. They're not going with the Tom Cruise universe.
Wasn't it Bride of Frankenstein?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Something along those lines.
But yeah. But I came out of that movie thinking if fucking Elizabeth, not Elizabeth Olsen, but Elizabeth Moss, if she can leave that abusive relationship, then 2020 is going to be a pretty great year. 1 month later, fucking Australia's on fire.
Yeah.
We kill an Iran general. Remember when that happened?
Yeah, Soleimani.
Someone just posted that, and I could not believe that happened this year. That felt like I could
ages
not.
Ago.
Yeah, because it happened at the start of the year, so you don't remember anything besides Invisible Man. That's how good it was.
Exactly.
But you don't remember anything.
Well, that's the thing, dude. Like it's so weird to break down 2020 because it feels like the slowest year of all time, and yet the fastest. And it's like
we hit a fucking black hole or something. Yeah, we are jumping parallel universes. Yeah, something is happening.
Yeah,
where but this is the year that it got at its peak. I hope. Hopefully, it doesn't just keep going. But Invisible Man was fucking fantastic. Came out at the beginning of the year. Great special effects. Has one of the most memorable fight scenes, which he's fighting no one. And she's just being thrown in the fucking kitchen.
Thrown. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. An awesome movie, and I think it's streaming right now. I think it's streaming on Amazon.
I think I saw Amazon have it. Yeah.
But check it out.
Alrighty. So
one more. I'm gonna do another one that I don't think will be on your list. Although I didn't think First Cow was gonna be on your list, but it was. But The Vast of Night.
Are you kidding me? That was number 4 on my list.
Awesome.
I fucking love The Vast of Night. Man, that was one of my favorite films this year.
I've told so many people to watch it. And every time they come back, they go, huh. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. It's so fucking good.
And I'm not trying to be a snob here because I'm not a movie critic. I am honestly a genuine fan of movies. I love to commentate on film.
Yeah.
But I'm not like a snobby like this and that. But the cinematography, like to be able to do what he was doing, and then you find out how he got all those shots. This debut director, how he got all those shots. It was someone on
Andrew
a go-kart.
Patterson.
Andrew Patterson, yeah. Which he deserves name recognition.
Absolutely.
Because that film was phenomenal.
And I think you'll probably hear more of that name too.
In a micro budget in a lot of ways, an indie film, the acting's incredible. There's these long takes. I mean, we're talking 8 or 9 minutes of dialogue walking through.
Yeah.
I honestly, this is every indie filmmaker's dream. Yeah. And this is what everyone should put the catalyst on to like try to emulate what he's doing in his films and how he was able to accomplish things with how little that guy had.
Yeah, and how little there really was. I mean, like you said, you hit the nail on the head with the micro budget and all that. I mean, there was the screenplay was so good. They didn't have, I mean, it was just people talking on the radio for fucking an hour and a half. Yeah. But it was the dialogue was so good. And it was that, like you said, it's an indie film, true and true, because you can tell they had nothing, but they still keep you hooked. They don't need any fucking special effects until the last 30 seconds. There is a fantastic fucking special effects. Yeah. But this film just ties a bow so perfectly on that film. That ending is so fucking perfect. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the entire thing, it felt so 1950s.
It did.
The dialogue was fucking fantastic. The acting was incredible. But yeah, I loved Fast of Night. And those single shots, it opens up with a 8-minute single take with him walking through the gym and shit, talking about.
And that's one of my favorite scenes. Too.
Yeah,
they go through the cars and everything, and they drive, or the camera goes through the town. It's just awesome. And too, like when I was like 18, 19, I used to listen to a late night radio. Okay, which. It's conspiracy theories. They talk about,
lizard
lizard people and
Sasquatch like coast to coast
and
stuff.
Yeah, coast to coast stuff and Clyde Lewis and all them. But, the dialogue was so good because when that, and I'm not going to spoil the film, but there's dialogue where they start to kind of reveal what's going on.
Well,
and
like
the dialogue is creepy.
when
and
he talks to
eerie.
the soldier.
Yeah, exactly.
And they
That's
cut
the
it, and
main
they
one.
cut him off. It's again, there's so little there. I mean, they're doing it with nothing, and it's such a good film. It's absolutely nothing, but yeah, it's great. Another one you can watch on Amazon.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see what this director can do with a bigger budget, because
Yeah.
you got to be looking at, like, producers got to be looking at this film and going, wow, this guy was able to accomplish this with this micro budget. What is he going to be able to do with a few million?
I hope that's the one good thing to come out of 2020 is that because there's so little blockbusters coming out, because everything was delayed, that big studios have to look at these smaller films now. They have to give it recognition. And I hope that it's shown at the Oscars. I mean, because it has to be. There's, what, 2 blockbusters that came out this year?
Maybe.
I hope it reflects at the Oscars that a lot of these indie films end up getting nominated.
Same.
Because it's the perfect time for it.
Yeah.
Because we saw so many indies this year.
And that's the thing with me. That's one thing that frustrates me a little bit. And I know there's politics. I know there's money involved. I get all of that. But indie films, if they are incredible movies, they deserve the right to at least be nominated in awards.
Well, it's because they don't have a
awards.
big, giant, sweaty producer pinning you against the
Again,
wall.
It goes back to money and
telling
influence,
you to,
power.
Yeah, telling
all
you to
of that.
vote for Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah.
But I hope we see it this year, that they get a little more recognition. Yeah. All right. You're up. Or do we want to do a bad one?
Okay, so we'll do bad one.
Do your bad one.
I've been just clamoring to say my bad one. This is the worst film. This is the worst film this year.
I don't even know how you saw it, how you ended up seeing it. Oh, Bruce Willis.
Yeah, Bruce Willis. I saw the poster, and my dad loves action films, Ken Dog. We call him Ken Dog Millionaire. And he loves action films. He loves Bruce Willis. And me and my dad were just hanging out. We're like, yeah, okay, let's watch a movie. You know,
Shout out to Ken Dog.
Yeah, shout out to Ken Dog. So we click on the movie. We're 15 minutes in. I'm like, this is atrocious storytelling. This is going to be a fucking awful movie.
What was bad about it?
Every single thing. There was the most... this film is called Hard Kill, okay?
Right.
On Netflix, go watch it. I recommend you actually... It's weird because the movie's so bad, it's just horrible. But you can enjoy it in a weird sense.
You know what? There's a second film, a Bruce Willis film, that made it on everyone's worst list this year. So it's called Survive the Night.
Oh, God.
So
that even sounds bad.
So he has 2. So, because that was the movie I thought you were talking about.
Is he in like tax problem or tax trouble or something? I'm confused.
Everyone fucking hates him. No one likes working with him. He's an asshole. Everyone says he's the biggest fucking asshole in the world. So
when you're an asshole, that's what happens.
So when you're the guy that has to be the one making all the decisions on set, when you're not the director, nobody wants to fucking work with you.
Of course not. Well, and he was probably the one making all the decisions on this set.
Yeah.
Bro, the dialogue,
he probably wrote it.
In the dialogue was so vague.
Yeah.
You go through an hour and a half of this movie, and you still didn't even know. They're like, the world depends on this. And like, we have 8 minutes left.
Oh, so they tried to make it big.
Oh, yeah. And like, you still don't even know what it is. It is just the worst. And literally the whole thing shot in a warehouse, okay? Every time they send in the bad guys to, like, capture Bruce Willis.
Yes.
They send, and I'm not fucking around, they send 3 people in every time. They've got like 50, 100 guys lined up out there. They only send 3 guys at a time the whole movie. Yeah. I'm like, this is the most frustrating thing I've ever seen. How do you have to purposely make a movie this bad. You have to. There's no way this is an accident. I really thought this was like a comedy. It was so bad. Like, it's worse than The Fanatic.
Well, this is more important. What'd your dad think about it?
He thought it was horrible.
Really?
Dude, and Ken loves... Dude.
Yeah.
It is not... Okay, let's... For example, the last Rambo, he loves.
Yeah, he's the equivalent pretty much of my parents, who they just like...
They love the
being
action.
Involved.
Yes. But dude, my dad kept looking at me. He goes, this is the worst movie I've seen.
Wow.
My dad... And he never... says anything bad about movies. He can always find something. Oh, I enjoyed the action scenes.
Yeah.
He said this was horrible. This was the worst movie he's ever seen.
Okay, so avoid it.
Avoid it at all costs, or unless you're looking for a good laugh.
Drunk or something, yeah.
Go
unless you want to
it.
get drunk or something. Okay. I'll do one of my worst ones too.
Okay.
And you might not even fucking remember this film, but it is called The Last Thing He Wanted, starring Ben Affleck and Anne Hathaway. It's the one, I'll tell you the premise.
Oh, that's right. That one was so
When she
bad.
helps her father broker an arms deal,
Yep.
a reporter becomes involved in the story with Willem Dafoe as the dad.
This had an incredible
I had
cast.
no idea what was going on in this fucking film.
It was so back and forth. The editing was horrible. The storytelling was atrocious.
Everyone was like a triple double agent. They were flipping a double flip. It was a triple flip. It was fucking nutty. It was so hard to... Yeah, Anne Hathaway, William Dafoe, Rosie Perez, Ben Affleck. A stacked fucking cast.
You would look at that cast list and go, okay, this movie's going to be good.
It made no sense.
No, and I think when we saw that, because we reviewed that on the podcast, you can go back and watch that and listen to it. But before that movie came out or anything, there were any reviews on it. I remember looking at that cast and being like, this movie could be really good. And we reviewed it because we picked it before it came out. Yeah. And then we watched it. And this is clearly one of the worst films this year.
Oh without a doubt. Absolutely. Yeah. It was
That's a great pick. I forgot about
it. And I remember reading the synopsis and then watching the movie and be like, well, when the fuck does the synopsis come into play? Yeah. It's about an arms deal, but then that doesn't become a factor at all throughout the movie. And then for some reason, the dad's dying, but he needs Anne Hathaway, who's a reporter, to go and do the arms deal. Isn't that it? Which would be the worst person to do an arms deal.
That story was so convoluted and all over the place.
I can't even try to remember it. But that is one that we actually reviewed, and I have very little recollection about. Yeah. Like I might have been on acid or something because I blacked that fucking film out. But
I had forgot that movie even existed until you brought it up. So
well, let's all forget.
Yeah, let's all do it together.
Like 2020, let's throw that fucking thing in the trash. Go on, do a good one now.
Okay, so this is my number 8. I'm just kind of going up my list, and then whatever you hit, I'll tell you if it hits. So we know The Vast Night was number 4 on my list. Number 8, though. And this might surprise you, but I did genuinely enjoy this film. I'm Thinking of Ending Things, Charlie Kaufman.
Wow, that really surprised me because it didn't make my top 10 list.
Really?
Yeah, that really did surprise me. Yeah.
You really didn't like that film?
No, I did like it. I gave it a good review.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we both gave it a good review.
We gave it good reviews, but it didn't hit your top 10?
It did not hit my top 10, no. I was struggling. It did make my honorable mentions, of course. Right. I was struggling. That's one I was throwing in and out constantly. As far as Charlie Kaufman films, it was just... This is his most abstract film. I mean, for sure. Yeah. He's always doing mindfuck films and whatnot, but this is one where it was more style over substance, I thought. It was beautifully shot. The houses, the house scenes were very creepy.
They were
very well done.
I thought the dialogue impressed me a lot too. Yeah, like when you go back and watch it a second time, there's a lot of things that he's able
and you
to
have to go back. That's a film. And I don't know if you should be making films where you have to go back and watch it a second time. I think you should, but this is a film. Charlie Kaufman's films are like that though, where you have to go. But yeah, I don't. For just how crazy all of it was, I didn't think the finale or the ending warranted just how wild I think the ending should have been a little more crazy. I think, but yeah, it was very cerebral. Mm-hmm. But it was very beautiful. Some of the dialogue though was a little heavy and it was drug on for a little long.
And those car scenes are long too.
Yeah, and this is
they're just going straight.
Yeah, and this is a film that Charlie Kaufman obviously said this was not going to be for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's a very particular audience that film is for. Yeah, but it was good. It definitely made my honorable mentions. Mm-hmm. But
okay,
let me go. I'm going to do a comedy.
Oh, I already know what it is.
Oh, are you sure?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you do.
Okay. I'll be honest. Go ahead. What comedy?
Okay, it's Palm Springs. Yes. Okay, good.
Yep. Number 6 on my list.
2 comedies that were in and out for me, but awesome! My favorite comedy of the year.
Mm-hmm. Well, as far as comedies go, yeah, unquestionably.
I thought it was so damn good. Andy Samberg, he did a fantastic job. Love the story though. Mm-hmm. Love the dialogue, but love the screenplay also. The screenplay was really fucking good. How they did the time travel, I loved it. An
idea that has been used, obviously, time and time again, Live, Die, Repeat, Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
So, but they used it in the way the screenplay was or the way they used the idea was original. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a very very grounded, down to earth kind of what you would do if you were stuck in a fucking time loop. Right. Which there's a few movies that came out in 2020 about being stuck in a time loop. Tenet's another one of them, which was crazy because in 2020 you felt like you were stuck in a time loop. So there's a lot of films that came out that made us seem like it was just the same thing over and over again. But yeah, I loved Palm Springs. One of the best rom-coms Without a doubt. I mean, in my mind, for sure. It was really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, and not just, I mean, it had drama, too. Andy Samberg goes deep in it.
A lot of funny moments in that movie, though. The wedding scenes.
Yeah, side-splitting
old
moments.
lady.
A laugh outside. Yeah.
They were good moments.
What's the guy's name?
I knew you were going to ask that because those bow and arrow scenes or the crossbow scenes are so funny.
They always came out of nowhere.
Isn't it like J.K.
Simmons?
Simmons, yes, that's right.
J. Jonah Jameson from the Daily Bugle and Spider-Man. But yeah, he was great in it, and he had a very sad story arc also.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, those arrow scenes when he was just at the wedding and then he gets shot in the back. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Palm Springs, high on my list.
Okay, so I'll move on to we just did Palm Springs, which was my 6. So I'll go to my 7 because this has not been brought up yet. And this is a newer movie that just came out recently, but I thoroughly enjoyed this, especially going back and us doing a review on Citizen Kane. Mank had to hit my list.
It's on my list as well. I loved Mank.
Mank was awesome.
So well done. Directed by
too.
David Fincher, and of course he's one of the greatest of all time. But yeah, Gone Girl, Fight Club. But yeah, it felt like a movie that came straight out of 1932. Yep. It was incredible. It was. It's probably the best modern day film to show of what it would be like in 1930s or whatever. And Gary Oldman. Can you go wrong?
Especially these days, man. You cannot go wrong with Gary Oldman.
Yeah. He, besides Tiptoes. Which is his greatest performance, I hear. They said it was his performance of a lifetime.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but directed by David Fincher, Amanda Seyfried was in it, Gary Oldman. But yeah, I think that was just perfect for us because we watched Citizen Kane. I think that film does do a lot of good if you do watch Citizen Kane and you kind of get the sense of what was happening, behind the scenes and whatnot. And then read up a little bit about, Hearst.
Yes.
And all that, because it's a fucking
It's a wild tale. And then, when you know the history behind Citizen Kane and who the movie was supposed to be about, and all the things associated with it. And I think, in all honesty, had I not gone back, rewatched Citizen Kane, had I not done a little bit of reading on Wiki, I think I would have had a different... Not that the film wasn't good as far as what it was, but I think it probably would not have hit my top 10 had I not known the circumstances surrounding the film. Beautiful. I thought the storytelling was great, but now knowing the information that I know and then watching the film really does help with this because it is a historic film.
Yeah, and this is another film that is not obviously for the broader audience. Yes. Although it's a drama and there's drama and you don't need to know, but it is a cinema historian's wet dream of a film that shows what it was like in the golden era of Hollywood.
And shot in black and white, too.
Yeah, and just showing all those, all the screenwriters, all those famous screenwriters all in a room together, bouncing ideas. It's very fucking cool. And again, very well done. And what you think would have what happened. And it's David Fincher, so he's good. He's so good with the dialogue and everything. And really showed you what the war between Herman J. Mankiewicz and Hearst was all about. It wasn't really George Orwell. It was Mank who fucking hated Hearst. Yep. Showed up to his house pretty damn drunk. Threw up right
everywhere. A lot of guests left.
Was not a very awkward party. No. Yeah, one day you're like, oh, geez, what time is it? We got to get out of here. Mank's here. He's going to make a scene. But yeah, it also made my list. High on my list, actually. But all right, that was yours, right?
Yep.
Let's go to one. I'm going to go to one that we just reviewed. And it is a foreign film. Oh. Yeah, a foreign film that we just did. The Call.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, The Call made my top 10 list. Okay. I love that
That
film.
was my honorable mention. Yeah. It did not hit my top 10, but it was very close.
So... I loved it. Yeah, so good. Again, it was based on a movie. Or it wasn't really based on a movie, but a movie that I've seen that was similar, but done very well with the whole. It was this. If you haven't seen it or seen our review, it's a South Korean thriller about a woman that moves into a house, picks up a phone, or he picks up a phone after it's ring, and it's a lady that lived in the house 20 years ago. Yes. Turns out the lady Little wild. The 90s were a little crazier than 2019.
There were shamans around trying to cast out demons, beating the shit out of people.
Yeah. And if a shaman latches onto you and thinks you have a demon, you're fucked.
You're not in a good place. Not mentally, spiritually. No. You're going to go through some tribulations.
Because they're going to do everything in their power to get that demon out. But I love The Call. Yeah, great South Korean thriller. You can watch it on Netflix.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm torn between which one I want to go to next. I'll just stick to my list. We already talked about my 4 and 6, so my number 5. And ironically enough, it has 5 in the title. That is...
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course. The Five Bloods.
The Five Bloods. Did not make my top 10, did make my honorable mentions.
Really?
Yeah. Just because that film really wasn't what I expected it to be, where it kind of became an action movie at the end, which was not my favorite, but it's Spike Lee, and he pretty much can't do any wrong at this point. He's very good. But yeah, I enjoyed it for sure. Great soundtrack.
And
great acting.
That I think is what sold me because it's Jonathan Majors, right?
Yes.
He deserves an Academy Award.
And Chadwick Boseman.
Was it? No. Delroy Lindo. That's who I'm thinking. Deserves an Academy Award for his performance.
Yeah, that's it's hard to argue.
That scene where he's looking straight into the camera too, and he's lost his mind.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, dude. This is some of the best acting I've seen this year.
Yes,
and his character was very
very powerful.
Yeah, very powerful, man.
But Chadwick Boseman too was one of his last films.
Yeah, unfortunately,
crazy.
I know.
Yeah, The Five Bloods. It was good. It was definitely good. On Netflix too. Everything came out on Netflix or streaming this year. Okay, let's move on. This is one that I haven't heard yet from you.
I know. It's on my top 3. I guarantee it is.
Is it The Sound of Metal?
Sound of Metal is number 2 on my list. That was my second favorite film of this year.
So good.
I fucking loved this movie from start to finish.
God.
The best ending of a film this year.
The best sound design. If it does not win sound design for the Oscar,
nothing deserves it outside of this one, man. I'm saying.
They shouldn't even nominate anyone else. No. But a phenomenal movie. Just one of the best films to really illustrate what it is to be deaf.
Yeah.
And what it is to even have any kind of disability late in your life and have to lose a sense or anything. It was very scary at times, when you're in his position and he can't hear and he's just in a panic. And he's also a musician, so it's like a surgeon losing his hands.
Yep.
You don't.
And I totally agree with you. The sound design of this film is like phenomenal from start to finish. And obviously that's one of the main emphasis of this film is sound.
Yes.
Because it deals with someone going deaf. But even from the start, man, when he's and then you just hear it muffled and it's going out. It's going out.
It's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
And then when he goes to bed and just hoping when he wakes up tomorrow, it's gonna be the same. He's gonna have hearing back, and he wakes up and it's still not there. And he's trying to pull it off and lie to Olivia Cook. But it's great performances too by Riz Ahmed, Olivia Cook, and Paul Raci, who played Joe in that film. Fucking heart-wrenching.
That was powerful too. As far as awards go, he should definitely be nominated as well
for best supporting.
Yes, for best supporting, unquestionably, because those scenes were very powerful in that deaf community.
Yeah,
especially towards the climax of that.
Well, we are getting down to the final films. I
have 2 films left on my list.
Should we do another bad one? Do you have another bad one?
I don't have another bad one.
So I have another bad one.
Okay.
And I'll do a couple then, because this will be my last one.
Because I don't really want to throw this movie on my bad list, but it kind of
Wonder Woman 1984. It's on my list.
Okay, yeah. It was on mine, but I feel bad.
Yeah.
Because I like the first one so much, but
that one I was just so hyped for, and it really fucking killed me.
I think that's why.
Because the first Wonder Woman was just one of the most beautiful superhero films I've seen in a long time. But Wonder Woman made my list. I only saw 10 minutes of this film, but it was fucking
but 10
awful.
Minutes too long.
Doolittle with
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
Oh boy,
was what a step down for him. Yeah. My God, I hope this.
You know how much money was behind that film too? It was something staggering, like 200 or 300
There's so many CGI animals in it. It's all CGI animals. You get some real animals, pay them $20 in peanuts or whatever you feed animals. And yeah, that's the way to do it. Torture real animals. That's what I'm saying. You know, but Doolittle was fucking horrible. I shut off immediately. Last thing he wanted, I already said. I did see The Tax Collector with Shia LaBeouf. It was fucking atrocious.
I did not see that one.
It was so damn bad, and might be his last film. So,
well, all he ever wanted, or all she ever wanted, just dropped on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, I forgot that was him. Yeah. But yeah, that's another one. And a film that we reacted to that I also saw, a trailer we reacted to, Songbird. Was bad.
Was it bad?
Was bad, man.
Bad. I thought it was gonna be good.
It got really bad reviews too. Yeah, it was not good. Just boring.
Really?
Yeah. It was. Yeah. But yeah, that's my list for worst films of the year. But there's a lot that I didn't see that were horrible. Yeah. All right.
How many more films do you have on your list?
I think I have 2.
2 as well. Okay.
Or maybe 1.
Maybe 1.
I think I only have 1 left.
Oh,
so
wow.
you go first.
Okay. So this is number 3,
Oh,
and then
I
I'll
have
give
2,
you.
my bad.
Okay. So I'll give you number 3, and then I'll leave number 1 for the last. My favorite film of this year. So number 3, and this was so hard. This film could have been 1. It could have been 2. But for me, I just put it 3. Recency bias, 2 with Sound of Metal gave me number 2. But overall, this was clear, cut, and concise. The best horror film of this year.
Yeah.
His House.
Yes. Which is so weird. I was making my list and going through what other people's lists were, you know, like real critics.
Right. Yeah.
Like Roger Ebert and like the New York Times and Vanity Fair always puts out a good list. And this was ranked on their list, but it was ranked low. Yeah, for like top 50. This was ranked like 30th and stuff.
Top 50?
Yeah, this was ranked like 30th, 34th or something.
Wow.
So, yeah, I fucking love... none of mine are in the top 10, but this would have been top 3. Yeah. For a film that shows you what it's like to immigrate to a country that you know nothing about, have no family there, have starting from zero... This film did a great fucking job. And the trauma that goes through leaving the country. Yeah.
Not just leaving a country, fleeing a country.
Yes.
Because your country is at war and people are dying.
Yeah.
And then you see the trauma associated with that. And we talk about this
Such a heavy movie.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time. The best forms of horror deal heavily in trauma.
Yes.
And that's where like you're just like, oh my God, like Hereditary was just deals with trauma.
Yeah.
You see the agony and
Midsommar.
the pain. Midsommar as well deals with trauma. You know, it's just like
Yeah, but the best horror films, like you said, The Shining deals with trauma. All of them. But yeah, His House, and so well shot too. There's some cinematography that's fucking fantastic.
Yes.
That scene when it's like
the water.
Thanos in the water.
Yeah.
And then the people start coming out.
And then the eerie like fork clinging and the way they're eating. It's just like it's
and how
funny.
everything can be a metaphor for just the trauma slowly trying to get for you, or it can be a real life fucking evil entity. Yes. That's what's so great about that film. It can
and
be
the entity too, and the way they were showing just little silhouettes or
and
just the eyes.
The
It's
payoff
perfect.
when you find out what they had to do to leave the country.
Yeah. Wow. And what happened because of that?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh God, that movie was
That
phenomenal.
film is so good, but it's a film that I will have to take a while to watch again. Because it's a film you can't just flip on.
No, it's not just one of those family friendly. Let's put on a movie.
Yeah,
No.
because it's very fucking.
You got to
heavy.
mentally prepare yourself for that.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, I'll do my last one.
Okay.
This is no in particular order again, but it did make my top 10, and it is one that you haven't seen yet. It's Christopher Nolan's Tenet.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yep. I have not seen that film.
Yeah.
I couldn't justify watching. I was telling you off air.
Yes.
I could not justify renting it and watching it.
And I'm glad
on
you
my
did, 'cause
phone. I gotta
telling me
watch
that
it on a
would've
big
made me
screen.
angry. Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's Christopher Nolan, so you know you're in for a cinematic experience at the least. But it wasn't my favorite Christopher Nolan film. It doesn't rank up there with Dark Knight or Interstellar, in my opinion. Or
Dunkirk.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was so fucking good. But there's some, like I said, very cinematic scenes that you're like, holy shit. It's just the story. I mean, Christopher Nolan is a big picture kind of guy. Those little tiny details that we really kind of like and pick up on. Like someone getting shot and like blood splattering he doesn't do that in films. He never does that. It's all about the big picture, like buying a 747 Boeing, an actual, and ramming it into a building. Yeah. That's what Christopher Nolan is about. But it took him 5 years to write the script for this, to try to figure out how. There's some scenes where you're like, okay, how did he do that?
Yeah.
When they're, because it's all about time, being stuck in time. So there's some scenes where they're fucking fighting backwards. And you're like, well, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
How did he do that? But worth watching. Definitely worth renting at this point. But would have definitely been worth going and seeing in the theaters.
Yeah, I really wish I could have got that opportunity.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go in that 2-week window when they opened up the theaters. I was lucky enough to see it then. But
God bless your heart.
Yeah, I'll die happy, man.
All right, you want to hear number one on my list because I did not see Tenet?
Yeah.
This one might surprise you a little bit, but I think he's one of the greatest courtroom drama writers in the world, if not the best.
Yeah.
And that's Aaron Sorkin's
number one.
Trial of the Chicago 7.
Wow.
I fucking love this movie from start to finish. And I thought the most impressive thing, and this Sorkin obviously is known for this. It actually forced me to go back and watch The West Wing. A while, or West Wing, whatever, for a few episodes in the first season. And like, it blew me away because the West Wing was a show that was always on, but I never understood like dialogue and stuff when I was a kid because that was made when I was younger. But going back and listening and watching how quick and witty the dialogue is, and then to see the trial of the Chicago 7, like that is my most highest point for this film. Was the dialogue was so good. And for such a heavy topic, there were some funny moments in this. There were some heartwarming moments. And then there were some really like dark moments in this film where you're just like,
well, it's a very
holy
heavy
shit,
subject.
This shit happened in a court of law?
Yeah.
Like how does that happen? How is this justified in any sense?
Racism.
Right, exactly. No, but again, like that's what they're so good with the writing, where it can pull you all these different ways.
Yeah.
In one movie, and the acting's phenomenal.
And great performances.
Great performances.
Sacha Baron Cohen, who had such a hot year. Borat 2 made my honorable mentions.
It was number 11 on my honorable.
Same. It bounced in and out of my top 10. I was struggling. Borat is fantastic. But yeah, the Chicago 7, go back and watch A Few Good Men, because that's his best courtroom drama, man. It's fucking fantastic. But yeah, that was in my, the Trial of the Chicago 7 was in my honorable mentions, because it's a great film and also a story that I really wasn't familiar with, but a story that fucking I feel like everyone should know. I mean, that's what should be taught in the history books.
Exactly.
So you don't repeat that kind of shit. Because it's like you said, wild.
It's wild.
The guy I can't remember his name, but the guy they just picked up.
That's what. Well, and that's the thing.
He's like, well, why the fuck am I here?
Yeah,
it was wild.
He literally
just
had
he's black.
Nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
it was fear mongering, so they had to put someone associated
to
with
scare the jury.
Yeah, which is just
the pearl clutching all white jury.
He was in DC for what, 3 hours?
He was the last. Remember, he was the last minute addition because some other guy got sick.
Yeah,
so he's in there, and then on his way back, he got arrested. Yeah, it's a wild story. Go back and watch it. It's very interesting.
It's a great film too, and it's on Netflix. It's free. You can stream it.
And Eddie Redmayne's in it also. I think he's the lawyer, but a lot of famous people in it.
A lot of famous people and great acting for sure.
Yeah, well, I think. Is that our top 10?
It is our top 10. I do have one question for you, though. What was your favorite movie of 2020?
Oh, that's a great question.
I at least have to know that.
Let me peruse
Go
over.
Ahead.
I'll
give you some honorable mentions or some movies that we have not seen while you're thinking about that. Nomadland, I know, is one that everyone is saying is the best film of the year. Unfortunately for us, we do not have a press pass or whatever you want to call them to be able to watch it, or a screener.
It technically came out in 2020, but it's not out for the public now. But Frances McDormand, who we love on the show, a big fan of the show. Friend of the show, actually. But yeah, we fucking love. Everyone is saying that's the best film of the year, and everyone's saying she is going to win an Oscar for her performance. Yeah.
Another one is Minari.
Yeah, another one that we never got to saw.
Yeah, that's still not out.
Steven Yeun, he's had a hot trajectory ever since that fucking zombie show that he was on. But that's supposed to be very powerful and very good.
I heard that was a really good one.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I mean, and Soul, but we already talked about that.
Yeah, there's a few honorable mentions also. One Night in Miami is supposed to be really good. I haven't been able to see that as well. But
that deals with Malcolm X, right?
That deals with
no?
Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, and another singer, I believe, all in the one room in some crazy circumstance. I have no idea how it happened, but it's a true story. Somehow they were all stuck in one room in a hotel, and they had, I guess, a crazy conversation, which I imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But all right, my favorite film, I would say it's probably between Soul. I fucking love Soul.
Okay.
And probably Vast of Night.
Yeah.
I that movie is just right up my alley because I love UFOs. I love learning about aliens and stuff.
Right.
And that film felt like it was made by a guy that also had a passion for UFOs and kind of knows. Because that film was so well written, they really knew like the inner workings of how the military would handle this kind of situation,
especially in the 50s.
Yeah,
you know,
picking up a black soldier, knowing that he won't be trusted later on. A black
soldier and any soldier that was a different race. So,
because knowing they won't be listened to later. Right. It's so fucked up.
Yep.
And no wonder aliens haven't made contact directly with us.
They're waiting for that one world government, that new world order before they come down and give us
that. It's not in our time.
That advanced technology.
The only way that's going to happen is if we get attacked by aliens and we're forced to form a one government to attack. That's the next world war, is when we're not fighting each other.
We're fighting the alien invasion.
Fingers crossed. That's the army. That's the time I'm joining.
That'll be fun.
That's the war where I'm like, yeah. Sign me up.
You're joining Space Force?
You don't need to draft me. Sign me up.
Sign it up.
No, I'm joining the Navy. I hear aliens don't like water. I watch the signs.
That's true. But we have a bunch of aliens in the water. Damn it.
I haven't thought about that. Yeah, and Mermaid, who I am very scared of.
Look, mermaids don't fuck around. It's not like Ariel and the Little Mermaid.
They are twisted.
They are. They will eat your
sirens
soul.
Of the sea.
Yes, they
They
are.
lure you to the deep. Anyways, that is our top 10. 2020, shitty year. But for those 10 films, all fantastic films.
I totally agree with that.
You know, maybe Dune probably would have been on there.
Yeah.
And a lot of other films that we didn't get to see. I'm sure Fast and the Furious would have been made your top 10.
Oh, I didn't put... technically 2019, but I didn't put Rise of Skywalker on there. Oh man, can you imagine that?
That's crazy. That happened in 2019. That feels like 30 years ago that I saw that shit. And that was the last time I saw that film, was in theaters.
Yeah, same. I have not visited that film since.
I can't
either.
I'm going to erase it. Yeah. All right, go out and check those films out.
Absolutely.
And avoid the bad ones.
Yes. Let's try to look for some fun.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that is our top 10 list. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus. And until next time.
Bye.